Добрый вечер, уважаемые слушателя. Итак, сегодня у нас на повестке Present Perfect Drill Negative. First sentence. I haven't had lunch yet. I haven't had lunch yet. Я еще не обедал. I haven't had lunch yet. Next. Don't mind the smell. I haven't had a shower in a week. I don't have a shower in a week. I haven't had a shower in a week. Не обращай внимания. Don't mind the smell. Не обращай внимания на запах, на вонь. I haven't had a shower in a week. Я неделю не мылся. В общем, I haven't had shower in a week. У меня не было душа неделю. I haven't gone down that route. I haven't gone down that road. Тут два произношения. Road и route. Road. You haven't gone down that route. You haven't gone down that. Gone down. Ты не ходил тем маршрутом. Gone down. Не спускался тем маршрутом, можно сказать. Не ходил. Go down. Идти вниз. Опускался. Наверное, со скалы. Не со скалы, а с холма или с горы. Gone down. Не спускался тем маршрутом. Your time machine hasn't been operational since the flux capacitor broke down. Твоя машина не работает с тех пор, как сломался капаситор, конденсатор. Конденсатор, флакс капаситор, это конденсатор потока. Ну там такая в фильме, это про машину времени, американский фильм, вот этот, и там сломался у них флакс капаситор. Это именно та часть, откуда бралась энергия и машина летала во времени. Флакс капаситор. Your time machine hasn't been operational since the flux capacitor broke down. We haven't been able to do any other updates with John. We haven't been able to do any other updates with John. We haven't been. У нас не было возможности сделать каких-либо обновлений с Джоном, узнать какую-то новую информацию о Джоне. Any other updates, какую-то другую информацию, другую информацию о Джоне, с Джоном. Updates with John. We haven't been able to do any other updates. What's going on with the microphone? Hasn't she from Lafayette? West Lafayette, West, западный Лафайет. Это город в Луизиане, по-моему. Да, город в Луизиане. Луизиана. Lafayette. Hasn't she from Lafayette? Hasn't she from Lafayette? West Lafayette?
The city of Lafayette is no different than other communities.
You have probably never given it much thought. You have probably never given it much thought. Given it much thought. You have never given it much thought. You have never given it much thought. You have probably never given it much thought. Ты никогда много не давал мыслей для этого. Никогда не задумывался хорошо об этом. I haven't seen you since we bumped into each other downtown. Я не видел тебя с тех пор, как мы ударились бамперами в центре города, внутри города, downtown. Bumped. Ну, это не удариться, а столкнуться. Bumped into each other downtown. I haven't had lunch this noon. Я не обедал после полудня. I haven't had lunch this noon. У меня не было после полудня еще обеда. Я не обедал после полудня. I couldn't have been more wrong in that assumption. I couldn't have been more wrong in that assumption. I couldn't have been more wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong in that assumption. Я не мог быть более неправильным, wrong. Более неправильным в том предположении. Я не мог быть более неправильным, сильнее ошибаться в том предположении, так можно сказать. I couldn't have been more wrong. Я не мог более сильно ошибаться в том предположении. Assumption, предположение. Assume, предполагать. Assumption, предположение. He hadn't established relationship with Ben. He hasn't. He hasn't established relationship with Ben. Established. He hasn't established relationship with bank. With this bank. With the bank. With the bank. He hasn't established. Он не наладил взаимоотношения с банком. He hasn't established a relationship with bank. Without them, show would not has been possible. Without them, show would not has been possible. Without them, без них шоу не было бы возможным. Не было бы возможным. Не было бы. Would not. Wouldn't have been possible. Would not have been possible. Without them, show would not have been has been possible. Without them, show would not has been possible. Show has been possible. Would not has been wouldn't has been possible. Without them, show wouldn't has been possible. Without them, show wouldn't has been possible. Has been possible. I've never seen him out there before. Я никогда его не видел здесь раньше. I haven't seen him out here before. I have never seen him out here before. I have never seen him out here before. Seen him out here before. I've never seen him out here before. I've never seen him out here before. Out here before. Здесь раньше. Я никогда раньше его здесь не видел. I haven't seen him out here before. Out here before. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like this happen before. I don't think I've ever heard ever heard of anything like this happening before. Like this happening before. I don't think I have heard of this ever heard of anything like this happening before. Anything like this happened before. I have ever heard. Я когда-либо слышал о таком, чтобы такое случалось. Я когда-либо слышал, чтобы такое случалось. Я не думаю, что я когда-либо слышал, что что-нибудь случалось такое ранее. I've ever heard of anything like this happening before. I've ever heard of anything like this. I've ever heard of anything like this. I ever heard of anything like this happening before. Ранее случалось. I haven't seen you in a long time. I haven't seen you in a long time. Долго я тебя время не видел. I haven't seen you in a long time. I've never been in this kind of situation. I've never been in this kind of situation. Я никогда не был в подобных ситуациях. В ситуациях подобно этой. Kind of situation. I've never been in this kind of situation. Я никогда не был в подобной ситуации. We haven't seen a long time. Тут I. Почти везде I, и тут we. We haven't seen a long time. Almost everywhere we have I, and this case, in this special case, we have we. We haven't seen a long time. We haven't seen a long time. I haven't yet begun to fight. I haven't yet begun to fight. I haven't yet begun. Да, это третья форма. Present begun. Begin, began, begun. Begin, began, begun. I haven't yet begun to fight. Я еще не начал сражаться. That hasn't always been the case. That hasn't always been the case. You know, that hasn't always been the case. Это не всегда было так. Это не всегда было так. Ты знаешь, это не всегда было так. Been the case. Но тут так не перевести. Это не всегда было так. Тут по-другому. Дословно. That hasn't always been. Это не всегда было случаем. Вот так, если дословно. That hasn't always been the case. Это не всегда было случаем. То есть это не всегда было так. Не всегда так случалось. That hasn't always been the case. That has not always been the case. That hasn't always been the case. I've never seen this nor heard about this. I've never seen this nor не слышал, не видел, не слышал об этом. Я никогда не видел и не слышал об этом. Не видел, не то, что не слышал, а не видел не слышал. Never, nor. Не видел, не слышал. Nor. Never, nor. Они вместе идут. Never seen this, nor heard about this. Never. И когда дополняешь еще, говоришь heard, слышал, то nor. Вместо or, если в два варианта, seen and heard, то instead or you have to say nor. I've never seen this nor heard about this. Never seen this nor heard about this. Это все дело привычки. Это все дело привычки. Все надо изучать по 250 тысяч раз повторять. That's all matter of repetition. Repetition, repetition, and again repetition. I've never seen this nor heard about this. I haven't put it up there yet. I haven't put it up there yet. Я еще это не выкладывал. I haven't put it up there. Put it up there yet. Можно сказать про видео on the channel, on YouTube channel. You can say about video on YouTube channel. I put it up there before. There yet. God damn it! I haven't put it up there yet. Put it up there yet. Я там еще не выложил. Video. We are filming. Мы пишем. Мы записываем видео. We are filming. And I haven't put it up there yet. Put it up. Выложил. Наверх как бы положил. Haven't put it up there yet. Еще. Уже. Тут yet еще. Но может быть и уже. В некоторых предложениях уже yet это еще и уже, так что это по контексту. Upon context, depends on context. Context. I couldn't have prevented this. I couldn't have prevented this. Я не мог предотвращать. I couldn't have prevented this. Я не мог предотвратить это. I couldn't have prevented. I couldn't have prevented this. 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 Я не мог это предотвратить. Prevent предотвращать. Prevented предотвратил. Prevented this. Won't we have fallen down? Won't we have fallen down? Won't we have fallen down? Have fallen down. Разве мы не упали? Мы не упали? Мы не упали? Won't we have fallen down? Fallen down. Fallen down. Fallen down. Won't we have fallen down? This is an individual who we haven't had a chance to introduce you yet. This is an individual. This is an individual who we haven't had a chance to introduce you yet. To introduce you yet. We haven't had a chance. We haven't had a chance to introduce you yet. We haven't had a chance. У нас не было шанса представить вам еще. У нас не было шанса представить. Возможности, шанса. We haven't had a chance to introduce you yet. Пока еще. This is an individual who we haven't had a chance to introduce you yet. We haven't had a chance to introduce you yet. We haven't had. У нас не было шанса. I haven't had a chance. Haven't had a haven't. We haven't had a chance. I haven't had a chance. He hasn't had a chance. He hasn't had a chance. He hasn't had a chance. She hasn't had a chance. У нее не было шанса yet. She hasn't had a chance yet. She hasn't had a chance yet. He hasn't had a chance yet. We haven't had a chance yet. I haven't had a chance yet. У меня не было шанса. I haven't had a chance yet to say it. Haven't had a chance yet to say it. She hadn't had any yet. God, I'm really tired. She hadn't had any yet. Such as children, kids. She hadn't had any yet. У нее еще нету. У нее никого еще нету. Ни мальчика, ни девочки, в смысле ребенка. She hadn't had any yet. У нее еще детей нет. У нее еще нет, но в плане детей. Это из контекста. У нее еще нет. She hadn't had any yet. Никаких. Ну, тут как бы не сказать на русском языке никаких. She hadn't had any yet. She hadn't had yet. She hadn't had yet. She hadn't had yet. She hadn't had any yet. Тут как бы уже так устоявшийся. Had any yet. Hadn't had any yet. Hadn't had any yet. She hadn't had any yet. I haven't heard these talks for 5 minutes. I haven't heard these talks for 5 minutes. Я не слышал разговора в течение 5 минут. Ну, боже мой. Oh my Jesus Christ. I hadn't had these talks for 5 minutes. Jesus Christ. God damn it. Еще научимся ругаться. God damn it. Jesus Christ. Oh my Lord. We haven't gone to Nashville. We haven't gone to Nashville. Мы не ездили в Нэшвилл. То, можно сказать, не были, но здесь не ездили. Gone to Nashville. We haven't gone to Nashville. То же самое, город Nashville. Nashville. We haven't gone to Nashville. Мы не ездили в Нэшвилл. She hasn't seen the Lord of the Rings. She hasn't seen Lord of the Rings. Повелитель колец. Лорд колец. She hasn't seen. Она не видела фильма, имеется в виду. Она не видела фильма Повелитель колец. She hasn't seen the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. She hasn't seen the Lord of the Rings. I haven't gotten jetted about money. Jetted about money. I haven't gotten jetted about money. I haven't gotten jaded about money. Jade. Слово jaded. Измученные глаза. Jaded eyes. Jaded boy. Измученный. Но jade это jade, терять голову. Jaded. Терять голову из-за чего-то. About money. Например, ну да, вот в этом плане он потерял голову. Он не потерял голову из-за денег. Jaded. I haven't gotten jaded about money. Правильно. Tired, bored or lacking enthusiasm, typically after having had too much of something. Вот. Не измученный, а tired, bored, уставший, в недостаточном энтузиазме, обычно из-за того, что имел очень много, в этом случае у нас деньги, да, jaded. I haven't gotten jaded about money, то есть я не потерял голову из-за денег, они мне не приелись. I haven't gotten jaded about money. I haven't gotten jaded about money. Jaded. Haven't you met Lucy? Haven't you met? Ты не встретил Люси? Haven't you met Lucy? Nobody who we have ever introduced. We have ever introduced. Nobody who we have ever introduced. We have we have ever introduced. Nobody who have ever. Никто из тех, кого мы интродюсировали до этого, представляли. Introduced. Nobody who we have ever introduced. Haven't gotten that yet. Haven't gotten that yet. Ты еще это не получил? Не получил еще это? Haven't gotten that yet. Haven't gotten that yet. Haven't gotten that yet. Не получил еще это? Won't she have been training for the race? Won't she have been training for the race? Won't she have been training? Длительная форма, но ничего, отрицательно. Won't she have been training for the race? For the race. Это не present negative, but not present perfect negative. Won't she have been training for the race? Она еще не подготовилась, она не тренировалась для рейса. For the race. Она не тренировалась для рейса. Won't she have been training for the race? Won't she have been training for the race? We haven't been drinking coffee. We haven't been drinking coffee. Мы не пили кофе. Мы не распивали в длительной форме. Мы не распивали. We haven't been drinking coffee. I hadn't heard of that. I hadn't heard. Я не слышал об этом. I hadn't heard of that. Hadn't heard. В прошедшем времени, ну вот от какого-то периода до какого-то периода такое. I haven't heard of that. Haven't heard of that. Some drama that should have never been there. Some drama that should have never been there. Some drama that should have never been there. Have never been there. Should have never been there. Как там песня есть. It's a lonely day. And it should be banned.
Such a lonely day should be banned.
The longest day in my life. Some drama that should have never been there. Should have never been. Should be banned. Okay, next. We haven't even scratched the surface. We haven't even scratched the surface. Scratched the surface. We haven't even scratched the surface. Мы даже не поцарапали поверхность. We haven't even scratched the surface. Surface, поверхность. Surface. He has met my mother. He has met my mother. He has met. Он не встретил мою мать. Он не встретил мою мать. He has met my mother. He has met my mother. He hasn't read this book. He hasn't read this book. He hasn't met my mother. Won't I have been relaxing in the garden? 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 Разве я не отдыхал в своем садочку? There hasn't been proper testing. 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 Там не было правильного тестирования. Не было правильного тестирования. They haven't visited St. Paul. St. Paul. Сейчас посмотрим точно. St. Paul. St. Paul. St. Paul. Minneapolis. Вот он. St. Paul. Minneapolis, St. Paul. Сент-Полов, конечно, там много. Святых Пауль. Святых Павлов. Святой Павло. Saint Paul. Saint святой. Это С и Н. Т. Saint. Abbreviation of the Saint Paul. Saint Paul. Святой Павел. Наверное. Пашка. Paul. Okay. They haven't visited Saint Paul. They haven't visited Saint Paul. They haven't. Они не посещали город Saint Paul. I have not achieved what I wanted to. I have not achieved what I wanted to. Я не достиг того, что хотел. It's been a long time since you've been operational. It's been a long time since you've been operational. It's been a long time since you've been operational. С тех пор, как ты был операбельный, не операбельный, а активный, operational. Активный, действовал. Короче, когда ты действовал. You have been active. Haven't been there forever. Haven't been here forever. Не знаю, откуда вообще это вырвано. Haven't been here. Не был здесь вечно. Ладно, следующее. You should have never went over there. You should have never went over there. Тебе не следовало ходить туда. Over there. Туда. Через туда. Over there. Через туда. You should have never went over there. Look over there. Went over there. Ходить туда. Ходил туда. Look over there. Смотри туда. Look over there. Look over here, если это близко. But we have not as yet touched on real economy. But we have not as yet, пока еще. As yet touched on real, прикоснулись к настоящей экономике. But we have not as yet, we haven't as yet touched on real economy. But we have not as yet touched on real economy. Прикоснулись к настоящей экономике. As yet. Пока еще. As yet. Как еще? As yet. Пока еще. Пока что. As yet. Пока что touched on real economy. Touch on. Прикоснулись. I haven't known for 3 months. I haven't known him 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 for 3 months. Сколько это уже по времени? Total time 35 минут. I haven't studied French for 10 years. Я не изучал французский в течение 10 лет. Your money hasn't been paid out. Твои деньги не выплачены. Ваши деньги не были выплачены. Hasn't been paid out. Has been paid out. Ваши деньги выплачены. Hasn't been paid out. If you haven't already. Если у тебя еще нет, если ты еще не имеешь. Haven't already. Ну это вообще, ну ладно. They haven't been in Bismarck for 6 months. Bismarck. They haven't been in Bismarck for 6 months. Так хочется сказать months. Ну правильно, months. Сокращают months. Months. 6 months. Языком там на конце. They haven't been in Bismarck for 6 months. He hasn't hurt his leg. Он не поранил ногу. He hasn't hurt his leg. He hasn't hurt his leg. He hasn't hurt his leg. I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have thought. Wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have thought. Я бы не подумал. I wouldn't have thought. Я бы не подумал. I wouldn't have thought. Wouldn't. I shouldn't have thought. I shouldn't have thought. Should куда-то делать. Сейчас уже should, shall, shall, will and shall. Shall куда-то делать, не помню куда. She hasn't left her phone in a taxi. She hasn't left her phone in a taxi. In a taxi. In a taxi. She hasn't left her phone in a taxi. Taxi. She hasn't left her phone in a taxi. She hasn't left. Она не оставила свой phone в такси. Телефон в такси. Такси в телефоне. We haven't lost our ticket. We haven't lost our tickets. We haven't lost. We haven't lost our tickets. Мы не потеряли билеты наши. So the question has been answered. Вопрос был отвеченный. Так, вопрос был отвеченный. The question has been answered. Answered has been answered. The question has been answered. Вопрос был отвечен. The question has been answered. That's where she's been. She's been. That is where she has been. Это то, где она была. That's where she's been. She has been. Это то, где она была. Имела быть ее. She has been. Имела быть ее. That's where. Это там, где она имела быть ее. That's where she's been. That's where she's been. Being. Не being, а being. She hasn't made dinner. She hasn't made dinner. Она не сделала ужин. If you have never experienced those kinds of feeling, if you have never experienced those kinds of feelings, if you have never experienced those kinds of feelings, those kinds of feelings, если ты никогда не испытывал подобных ощущений, чувств, подобных kinds, those kinds, таких типов ощущений, those kinds of feelings. If you have never experienced those kinds of feelings, you haven't arrived yet. They haven't arrived yet. Они еще не прибыли. They haven't arrived yet. I haven't blinked in 15 years. Blinked это значит моргать. Blink моргал. Я не моргал в течение 15 лет. 15 years. I haven't blinked in 15 years. Can you believe? Yes, I haven't. I have been producing content every day for 10 years. I have been Что ошибка какая-то. Так, это у нас получается producing content. Produce, да. I have been producing content every day for 10 years. For 10 years. I've been producing content. I've been producing content every day for 10 years. God damn, 10 years every day. You have known me for a while. You have known me for a while. Ты знаешь меня уже какое-то время, некоторое время. For a while, некоторое время. You have known me for a while. Ты знаешь меня некоторое время. Few weeks. For a while. Months. Few weeks, few months. Few weeks, few months. You have known me for a while. You have known me for a while. Lucy hasn't done her homework. Lucy hasn't done her homework. I haven't read that book. I haven't read that book. I haven't read that book. Read. He hasn't lived in Columbus. He hasn't lived in Columbus. He has lived in Columbus. John hasn't bought any food. John hasn't bought any food. Джон ничего не купил. не купил еды. Джон не купил никакой еды. She hasn't cleaned the kitchen. She hasn't cleaned the kitchen. Она не почистила едальню. Kitchen. Столовую. Кухню. She hasn't cleaned the kitchen. I haven't seen you for a long time, so tell me what you have been doing. So tell me what you have been doing. I haven't seen you for a long time, so tell me what you have been doing. So tell me what you have been doing. Я тебя долго не видел, так что расскажи, как у тебя дела. What have you been doing? Чем ты занимался? You haven't called me. You haven't called me. Ты меня не позвал. Не позвал, не звони. You haven't called me. You haven't called me. Called me. You haven't called me. Ты меня не позвал, ты мне не позвонил. The place where I've seen that. The place where I have seen that. То место, где я это видел. The place where I've seen that. We haven't found the book yet. Мы не нашли еще книгу. We haven't found the book yet. They haven't slept well. They haven't slept well. Они не выспались хорошо. They haven't slept well. Они хорошо не поспали. It really hasn't been as hard as I thought. Hasn't been as hard as I thought. Это не было трудно, как я думал. As I thought. Это правда не было так трудно, как я думал. It really hasn't been as hard as I thought. Hard as I thought. Has been as hard as I thought. It really hasn't been as hard as I thought. 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 As easy as I think. As easy as I think. As hard as I thought. As easy as I think. As easy. He has missed the payment. Он не пропустил платеж. He hasn't missed. What the hell? What the hell is going on? He has missed the payment. Oh, I haven't seen her since Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Сатаней.
Сатаней от Saturday.
I haven't seen her since Tuesday. Вторника. Я не видел ее со вторника. They haven't given me the go-ahead to pass them. They haven't given me. They haven't given me the go-ahead to pass them. To pass them. They haven't given me go-ahead. The go-ahead. Давай. Go-ahead. Это давай. Типа разрешение такого. Go ahead. Действуй. Go ahead. Go ahead. Иди вперед. Давай. They haven't given me the go ahead to pass them. Они не дали мне пройти мимо их. Да, типа такого. Пройти мимо их. Они дали мне добро, чтобы передать их. They to pass them. Ну, здесь не передать pass, а именно пройти. Pass them это именно пройти их. Пройти мимо, пропустить, вот, больше так. Go ahead to pass them. Не пропустили меня, не дали добро, не дали добро для того, чтобы меня пропустить, или их, короче. They haven't given me the go-ahead. They haven't given me the go-ahead. They haven't given me a go-ahead to pass them. Pass. To pass them. Pass them. The reason we haven't done it yet is. The reason we haven't done it yet is яра-яра. Яра-яра — это когда они говорят яра-яра. Так-то, так-то. Так-то и так-то. Многосмысленное выражение такое. Яра-яра. The reason we haven't done it yet. The reason we haven't done it yet. We haven't done it yet. She hasn't done it yet. We haven't done it yet is яра-яра. The bad weather. Bad weather is the bad weather. Is bad weather. The reason we haven't done it yet, the bad weather. We haven't gotten together since we went bowling that time. We haven't gotten together. We haven't gotten together. Мы не собирались вместе с тех пор, как ходили в тот раз в боулинг, играть в боулинг. Боулинг — это у нас играть боулинг, а там просто went bowling. Bowling — это bowl and bowl. Шар, ваза. Bowling. Шары катать. Bowling. Гонять шары. They haven't been beaten down as much yet. They haven't been beaten down as much yet. Они еще не были так сильно избиты. То есть они ни разу их так не избивали. Have not been beaten down as much yet. They haven't been beaten down as much yet. Они не были так избиты до этого момента. She has no regard for other people's feelings. She has no regard. Regard — это значит отношение. Regard, attention to or concern for something. Regard. She has no. То есть она не беспокоилась за чувства других людей. For regard for other people's feelings. Other people's feelings. Last one. I'm so glad that it is ending. It is ending. It's been nothing but good. It has been nothing but good. Nothing but good. It's been nothing but good. Ничего кроме хорошего. Это было ничего кроме хорошего. It's been nothing but good. I'm so glad that it has ended up. I'm so glad that it has ended up. Сейчас проверим. I'm so glad that it's ended up. I'm so glad that it's ended up. I'm so glad that it's ended up. I'm so glad. So that it has ended up. Что это закончилось. I'm so glad that it has ended up.